before we get to thought. You can't
Yes,
just
yes.
you can't just glance over this.
Okay, cool.
Uh, um, I'm curious. I mean, I am curious if you set like an intention going into this meditation, but yeah, I mean, it's so funny you even said tuning fork because in my research, in my deep research of David Lyon, I did find that you brought that up in your bio as well, and
Yes.
it's interesting because it was like the third time I've heard something like this. The first time was whenever I was talking to someone about Reiki, and they were talking about how you need to be in the presence of like a Reiki master to get attuned to Reiki. And then the next time I heard it, I was reading the autobiography of a yogi, and they were talking about Kriya Yoga. And I've scoured the internet for Kriya Yoga, and it seems like it's something that you need to be in the presence of a Kriya Yoga practitioner to become attuned to. And now this is the third time where you brought up like the
Mm,
tuning fork and like in order to have this magic that you need to be in the presence of someone. So I mean, I guess it's a complex question of, well, I guess the simple question is like, how do we all embody this own little magical orb that we have? Or like, do we need to be in your presence to do that? Or is that something that we can meditate on to kind of pull out?
you definitely don't need to be in my presence, and it helps.
Mm.
You know, and so the reason I say that is like going back to my analogy of embodying all the colors of your rainbow. Because I'm embodied in certain colors of my rainbow that everybody has. My presence, whether it's virtual or in person, is going to stimulate that in you. Because it's going to stimulate something in your unconscious and turn on the lights over there just through hanging out with me, or especially if you're in training with me. And so this is literally why I created Opening to Channel, which maybe you saw on the website as well, was to serve this purpose of helping people awaken their magic.
And the link will be down below for anyone interested.
Yes, yeah, it'll be there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you definitely don't need to be in my presence, but it does help to be in the presence of somebody who's already embodying that state just because it makes it easier. You go faster. This is kind of what the original gurus were for before it became westernized and became like this like superiority thing. You know, the word guru is two Sanskrit words, gu and ru, which gu means to dispel, and ru means darkness. So it's a dispeller of darkness. And so the original gurus were someone who walked that path of darkness inside themselves and turned on the lights of their rainbow, so to speak, so they could see in others how to do things more quickly. And that's why
Mm.
people originally had gurus. So it's kind of like it's the same tuning fork principle. So whether it's myself or someone else, it just makes things easier and more fun than trying to figure it out on your own, or even just spending that time.
And it seems like a part of me is like, at least at where I'm at, is like just you being here and putting that state of awareness in me is like something that now I can pursue or look for or figure out how to attune myself to, if you will.
Of
Like just
course.
having that awareness, it's now like, oh shit. But so then with you kind of getting to this, was there an intention with that meditation, or was this something that kind of just, it was just
No.
out of nowhere?
It was very I was just meditating, I think because it was like the end of the evening and I was probably like a little not tired, but just kind of rested, and I was at peace. I just remember feeling in a state of just peace and just kind of closing my eyes and just naturally drifting inwards kind of thing. So I didn't really have a particular intention, but I did say a week prior that how would I have discovered these things if I hadn't met my
Mm,
mentor? So that orchestration was already at play.
mm, I gotcha. The question was answered about a week later. Yeah, that makes
Yes.
sense. That
Yes.
makes sense. And so then it's like, oh, it's this piece of you that you could have shut down, or you shut down when you were 5 years old, that you are now bringing back online. And it sounds like we all have within ourselves as well.
Everybody has it. Everybody's got a magic. It's very much. Have you ever seen the movie Hook
Yeah, with Robin Williams.
with Robin Williams, right? It's like the sequel to Peter Pan. So I love that movie because it's such a great metaphor for the human condition. Because in that movie, the movie starts off as a sequel where Peter Pan's all grown up. He's living on Earth with Wendy. He's got kids. He's married. He's working. And the world has kind of like tore him up a little bit. He's a little bit more cranky and frustrated, and he completely has developed amnesia for Neverland. He forgot about it.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, Tinkerbell comes back in his life, and he's just like, fairies don't exist. What are you? And she's like, what are you talking about, Peter? Come, I need your help. I need your help. He's like, oh, I must be dreaming. And she like knocks him out and brings him to Neverland. And he starts to go through this remembering, this reawakening process of like, he's like, wait, these things do seem familiar, but I'm not grasping it. And there's a moment in the movie where he sees his teddy bear that he had as a kid, and that sparks everything for him. And all of a sudden, he becomes the Pan again. His magic comes online. He could fly. So
Right.
he remembers that he's the Pan. And so it's such a great analogy for the human condition, is that everybody's the Pan. Everybody's got that magic. There's just a really good chance you have amnesia for it. And amnesia is slightly different than forgetting, because it's like, it's amnesia for me is like, it's when you forget something, but then you forget that you forgot. So
Mm.
it's not even in your field of awareness at all, and it's like, no, I never had imaginary friends as a kid. No, I never talked to other dimensional beings. Or do you just have amnesia for that? Right? That's the question that we're exploring here.
It's a deep question.